I want to be absolutely sure that every one of you understand what I'm saying here. These strong Christians were not like the liberals of our day who rationalize and flaunt sin and immorality. Far from it. We're talking about the unimportant things. These strong Christians in Rome were flaunting things that are not necessary for salvation, has nothing to do with salvation. They were flaunting what the Bible does not speak against. They were flaunting things that were unimportant in the scheme of salvation. But nonetheless, the Apostle Paul is saying, while it is good not to sweat the small stuff, but if it is bothering the weak Christian's conscience, don't do it. For God's sake, don't do it. When it comes to our walk with God, the strong must make sure that he or she is not offending the weak. The mature Christian must make sure that he or she is not riding roughshods over the immature Christian. The liberated believer is the one who needs to be patient and understanding with the legalists. Again, Paul is not talking about sin or immorality. He's talking about eating and drinking and things that are not necessary for salvation. I want to be sure you got this one. It's not about sin and immorality and breaking the commandments of God. It's nothing to do with that. Now, if you smoke a cigarette, it may not stop you from heaven, but it's going to get you to heaven sooner than you would like. If you drink, it may not stop you from going to heaven, but if you form an addiction, you have formed a stronghold in your life, and I have seen the horrors of alcoholism. I have seen what is done to homes. I've seen what is done to families. And it's better to just abstain altogether. But I'm not saying these are necessary for salvation. The Apostle Paul uses the very word, eating meat or drinking wine. Why bother if it's going to cause my brother to stumble or my sister to stumble? There's some circles, some church circles, where people actually debate whether you should wear makeup or not. In fact, there's a church that teaches you shouldn't wear makeup for women, and then they go out and do a hairdo, you know, to make up for it. But this is the silly arguments over things that are not necessary for salvation. And Christians and churches waste their time and waste their energy going over these things. About clothing, Sabbath keeping. You pray standing up or kneeling down, or standing on your head, or playing cards, or dancing, or the mode of baptism, or being a vegetarian or a meatitarian. Who cares? Who cares? Whether you raise your hands up when you worship the Lord or you don't, what does it matter? It is expression of your liberty in Christ. You don't want to raise your hand, you're as free as the one who does. These things are not necessary for salvation. It's not even necessary to talk about and waste time over. All of these things can be argued one way or the other. You're not saved by keeping these things or not keeping these things. I respect your opinion. You respect my opinion. It doesn't matter, because you and I are only saved through faith in the Lord Jesus.